Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Hope everyone is well. Goonerly Meads here all on my own today. Just wanted to give a bit of an update on the Lionesses game from earlier on in the Ladies World Cup. Talk a few things about the transfer news that's going along and maybe a few points from the Community Shield game that happened yesterday. Yes, just in case you hadn't had enough of hearing my voice, here I am again. So welcome in. Hope everyone is well. And if you have any questions, anything like that, feel free to leave them in the comments. So I had an early start to this morning because not only did my little girl get up really early again, but we had the Lionesses playing in the World Cup again against Nigeria. And I think probably a good place to start would be putting up the team news, and there it is. And as you can see, that very noticeable, only about sort of a week or so after being stretchered off, Kira Walsh was back in the starting lineup for England. Very encouraging to see. I know she did a full training session the day before, which was amazing. We all thought, she had the knee issue, but yeah. Apparently A-OK. She managed to get through most of the game as well today, which was very encouraging to see. England's star from the previous game, of course, and I can put her up there. There she is, Lauren James. Well, what sort of part would she have played in the game today? Well, we'll find out in a minute. Also noticeable in the team as well, Lucy Bronze, equaling Karen Carney's cap record. So that was a nice thing to go on. Now, Lionesses, obviously they adapted the 3-4-3 formation again. It worked so well against China. It was one of them very, very frustrating games this morning where I'm just going to pause for a second. Arsenal since 1987. Lee, good evening. James made a stupid mistake and Stu will learn from the mistakes. Yes, we'll get to that in just a second, my friend. We'll sort of go chronologically if we can. I'm just trying to sum it up as brief as I can because I'm not gonna waffle too much, or try not to anyway. Very difficult sort of game because they, as Arsenal Forever has just sort of mentioned, Lauren James got very frustrated. I think during the game today, they really managed to mark her out of the game. After England sort of start relatively brightly with a few corner kicks, nothing really major happened from them. But so Nigeria were very good technically as well. They were very, very good. They had some chances themselves. I remember a corner kick that our very own Russo had to clear in our own box, which managed to get the ball away from there. Big shout out to Mary Oates as well, by the way, the goalkeeper, who's been fantastic all of the World Cup tournament. Had another save to make. It was a very noticeable, noteworthy save from the edge of the area, about 16 minutes gone, keeping it all at 0-0. There was an interesting point about 30 minutes gone. And this is where England initially were awarded a penalty, where Rachel Daly was sort of shoved in the back and sort of fell into the penalty area a little bit. I must say, now the commentators never picked this up during the live, but I say that all the tugging and all that sort of shirt pulling and all that sort of stuff that does tend to go on. Yeah, that sort of happened just outside of the penalty area anyway to start with. And then it sort of continued on. So the referee did initially give the penalty kick. It went to VAR, something I'm getting used to seeing in the ladies' game, to be fair, and I'm not sure I like it, but there you are. But not only was it given us a no penalty, it was given us a drop ball to start the play up again. So no foul given anywhere. I don't understand it, to be honest. It was a strange one to me, but there you are. Definitely worth pointing out. I think that was the line for the half time, if I'm remembering. Yeah. Want to mention Jess Carter, who's one of the unsung heroes in the Lionesses side. Had a couple of goal blocking sort of crucial tackles during the match. she was spectacular around the back as well. But this is obviously I'm talking a lot about England defending here, and it was mainly because we can't have any of the play. Just during the sort of late parts of the second half, we've seen Lauren James was getting into the game. She did have a few long range shots. There was, that sort of one where she hits it on the in the side of her foot, and she was in sort of the edge of the penalty area. Had a couple, didn't have any kicks in the game, but had a couple of sighters. And then, unfortunately, I think the frustration all came up. Let me just clear my screens a little bit here, and I'll see if I can find the picture, because I know I put it up. There it is. Yeah, so here's the incident. Initially getting a yellow card for the sort of the rash tackle, and then, as you can see, the player is down on the ground. She's sort of done a very similar to David Beckham against Argentina in 1998. I think that sounds right. Sort of a stamp on the player from Nigeria there. Definitely, perhaps a loss of composure there. The frustration of being marked pretty much out the games playing out there. It's a real shame. It's potentially it's a tournament ender for her, depending on what sort of ban that she's going to be given. It was sent off for violent conduct for the stamp, so that could easily be a 3-match ban. So, whereas England were very much up against it anyway, it got even worse. That all happened in the 87th minute, so they had extra time to worry about afterwards. I want to say a couple of things about this situation as well. Lauren James is a very, very talented young lady, and she's getting all the plaudits, wasn't she, against China? She's been an absolute fantastic talent. I've seen her playing for Chelsea as well. She's got a heck of a talent. Obviously, as Arsenal Forever said in the comments a little bit, a loss of discipline, made a silly mistake. Some of the stuff that's going on social media, and I don't understand it. I don't understand the need to jump on a player, and when they make a silly mistake like that, it's not helpful. Some of the stuff that I'm reading is absolutely preposterous. So that's about all I want to say about that. What I will say is the Lionesses managed to galvanise themselves, managed to pretty much get through the extra time period without any real issues as such. They managed to keep themselves very, very well organised, very hard to break down. And we went to another game of penalty kicks. I know, just where you haven't seen penalties for months and months to come along in 2 days. Didn't start well for England, though. Georgia Stanway, normally so reliable penalty kicks, missed the initial one. It went wide. However, Nigeria, I think it was Desiree, I think her name is, it was absolutely replicated the same sort of kick. It went almost the same direction to the goalkeeper's. Which way did it go? It went to the right. Beth England, this is a good one to talk about, because she was in the Lionesses squad that won the Euros, but never really, I don't think she got on the field. Was second up to try and get England underway in this shootout, and did put it in the net, ball through the middle. It's a great penalty. The second one for Nigeria was missed. Alozie missed it, blazed over the bar. Rachel Daly, I don't think ever in doubt that she was going to put hers away. Top corner, absolutely fantastic for her. Just going to cover that in a minute. Looks like breaking news, which I was going to cover in a minute. Let's just see. Yeah, they did get one back, Nigeria. So it went to 2-1. Alex Greenwood, I think, possibly one of the best of the gap. One of the best here. Left foot chip to make it 3-1 was really nice to see. And Anichibi, I think her name is, went to 3-2. Chloe Kelly, of course, the hero from the Euros, won the game for England. Ended up 4-2 to England on penalties, and they go through to the knockout stages. So, and knockout stages, the quarterfinals, I should say. I don't know. Went nearly 11 minutes without stumbling. That wasn't too bad. So, fantastic effort. Obviously, it was a very difficult, very challenging game, very different from the game against China. But they managed to find some resolve, and they managed to get through the game. And I think for Lauren James, she's going to learn from that experience, much like David Beckham did, and hopefully we'll come back stronger. Excuse me, I just need to take a sip of water. It's not so easy on your own, you know. Right, okay. Right, let's get into a few bits of transfer news that is going on, because I've just seen a few things going on. Let's start it with the goalkeeper situation. We mentioned yesterday during the live, Matt Turner was in the goalkeeping reserve for Arsenal yesterday on the bench. First time we'd seen him since for the pre-season, in fact. Might be the last time we see him until the first game of the season against Forest, because it looks like everything is all agreed and settled. It's just waiting for an official announcement from Forest on that front. Apparently, they are still in talks as well with United's Dean Henderson. So I'd imagine Matt would be the number one choice in goal there, but we shall see. We spoke about Turner being the USA number one and wanting to play in the international games as well. So, yeah, hopefully this move will make sense for him. He'll probably get some regular game time. And just seeing above my head just a little bit ago, Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that the situation for David Raya seems to be escalating very quickly up to Arsenal from Brentford. Doesn't look like that's too far away now. So that's very encouraging. Again, to have that goalkeeping position, which is, you know, it's so difficult, isn't it? Because you'll have one sort of absolute standout goalkeeper, and then very much the other one sort of go around behind the number one, if you like. If you've got two that are on the similar sort of level, that's great for competition. It's great if one of them has a bit of a problem, an injury, a dip of form, or whatever. It's great because, I mean, Ray has got a bit of Premier League experience now as well with his season at Brentford. So that's great news. Hopefully that will be confirmed perhaps in the next couple of days. I want to bring it to West Ham a little bit, because obviously they'll be looking to replace Declan Rice. And hearing this evening, just within the last half an hour or something, Man United have rejected a £30 million bid from Scott McTominay. So obviously that's more or less trying to cover that sort of position for West Ham. I'd imagine they'll probably try and go back in for that. Apparently, they're still after Harry Maguire as well. So, I mean, West Ham would be looking to get some leaders in their side. Give Maguire some credit for being a leader in that United dressing room for quite some time. You know, West Ham are going to need a bit of help this season, I feel. I think, personally, yeah, they got all the plaudits for the conference win over in the last season. Excuse me, stumbling over my words. Yeah, got all the plaudits for picking up the trophy, but with them losing Declan Rice, with them potentially losing other players as well, I don't know. It feels to me it might be a bit of a struggle for them. So that for them to try and recruit them United lads, that's an interesting one. Let's talk about, now this one's interesting, because Southampton's Latvia obviously was very much spoken about in our transfer plans as well. I think he started the season on the bench for the Saints. That's an interesting one. Apparently Liverpool's latest bid for him, £45 million, has been turned down. Sounds like Liverpool, from what they're saying in the news, they're looking for more like 50. Maybe Arsenal might go in for him again on that one. I don't know. We'll see. I would wonder if we might want to prioritise getting a striker. But as we know, this seems a little bit difficult. They just don't seem to grow on trees as much as they used to. But maybe one that could be available could be Harry Kane of Spurs. How about that, boys and girls? So turns out that Kane did start in their friendly win. In fact, scored 4 goals against Shakhtar yesterday. Now, Spurs apparently have rejected the final offer from Bayern for a transfer for Kane. As we all know, is out of contract. Next summer, he will be a free agent from there. Now, doesn't really make a lot of sense for the Spurs to lose that sort of player on a free transfer. It's happened to them before, as we all know. Sol Campbell, of course. Now, despite it being reported that it's final talks, I don't know. I would imagine that the communication will still go on. It could involve other clubs as well. I think this one could potentially run all the way through to the close of the window. It's one of them situations where what does Kane want to do with his career? He's got all the goal accolades and everything like that, in England captain and all that sort of stuff. But how many trophies does the lad want to pick up? That's my question to him. So much to ponder for him. But yeah, this will go through at the end of the month, and we'll see where we are with that one. Bring it to Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Actually, I think I have a picture of him. There he is. Former Arsenal midfield stroke defender, utility player, if you like. Very much through the ranks. Was with us for a while. Obviously, was out with Southampton, and not a successful season for him. But he is officially signed for Olympique Lyonnais, OL. Romaro broke this one. I've seen a video from Ainsley himself. I just want to wish him the best. It's a brave step for him to go abroad. It's a great move for him. Now his versatility is something that was very good for us a few years ago. For some reason or another, it really fell down the pan for him. I don't know if it was an attitude thing or whatever it is. I really hope that a few years down the line for him, he's going to do really well. He's got all the talent to be a very accomplished right back or a midfield player, and let's see how he goes. Before I leave us today, we'll briefly look back on the Community Shield from yesterday. Somehow I've still got a bit of voice left from that, to be fair, but it was an interesting game to look back on as well. A couple of takeaways that's definitely worth talking about after sort of 24 hours of looking back and thinking about things. How well organised the Arsenal defence was yesterday. It was nice to see that partnership at centre-back with Gabriel and Saliba looking as solid as it was for the majority of last season. That's a massive plus. Declan Rice, I think, was solid and steady, but not spectacular in one of his first games. Real big, high-profile game in front of everybody, but he's going to get better and better. Now, this is one that's going to divide not just my crew over on the Gooner Gathering, but the fan base as a whole. So this will be fun. I actually thought Kai Havertz did pretty good as centre forward yesterday. I would say that certainly first half, I thought he was better than second half. I thought he faded a little bit in the second half, but I thought his touch was nice. I think with the height that he's got, He did hold up the ball a few times. He did have a couple of efforts, and do you know what? I think he did all right. He might get a few bits of stick, and do you know what? I think he gets a bit of stick because of the Chelsea connection. Still, do you know, if it comes down to this weekend, right, and he scores a couple of goals, say against Forest, good take by the way, it might happen. And especially if he plays the centre forward, because we don't know what's happening with Balogun. Rumours of him going, of course, but there's of course, as I mentioned to my broadcast partner Posh Bertie yesterday, he's actually been injured for the last week and a half. So who knows if Balogun will be involved in our squad, for example. I mean, it did look a little defender heavy on the bench yesterday, I felt, but that's just one takeaway. Who else really stood out? Perhaps the fact that Thomas Partey was on a booking perhaps hindered his involvement of trying to close down Palmer, the lad from City who scored. And it was unfortunate that let's talk about Timber, the Ajax lad who came in and was played left back. Maybe not his natural position, but my goodness me, the lad impressed me. He was fantastic on the ball. I think he gave the ball away once, and he looked so at home in that Arsenal back line. I thought he settled in really nicely. For 75 minutes or so on the pitch, he was brilliant. Got replaced, and all of a sudden, it was poor Kieran Tierney, who I really like, because you guys all know. I think all of us on the team really like KT. But he got sort of wrong-footed, I think, and led to Palmer hitting that fantastic shot, which Ramsdale never had a chance to save him. But Arsenal did take a little bit of time, I will say this, to get themselves off the floor from that goal going in. But they did manage it. Let's give Bertie his props. He's been calling for Trossard to be playing ahead of, my boy Eddie Nketiah. Yeah, I know, big jokes and everything like that. But he's still, obviously, Havertz was chosen ahead of him with Saka and Martinelli on either side of him. But yeah, Arsenal carried on. They managed to sort of plug themselves out of it, despite the big head injury, by the way, from Partey and Walker, which led to the game going forward into that 100th minute. They kept plugging away. They were patient in their build-up. Maybe I would have liked them to be a little bit more direct, but they did manage to find the goal from that set piece that was sort of recycled. Saka found Trossard, got that lucky deflection, but the ball trundled into the net. Fantastic effort. And 1-1. Do you know what? I've gone through all this time talking about the game, never even mentioned Haaland's name at all. Basically, because I think he had about 12 touches in the whole game. We never even saw him. He obviously got substituted off, relatively early. And we've got to take that into consideration as well. It wasn't the Premier League, right? In that Premier League situation, they wouldn't have subbed him off, right? But you can only beat what's in front of you. You can only compete in what they put on the pitch. So it went to penalties after the 1-1 draw. And let's just we've got a little bit of fortune on the De Bruyne one that hit the bar. It was nice to see, like Ødegaard's penalty was fantastic. I enjoyed that. The other one I really, quite enjoyed was Rodri, who's missed it, and it was, as we said it in live commentary, it just sort of bubbled along the grass. Ramsdale managed to keep it out, thank goodness. And a nice moment for Fabio Vieira, who obviously gets a bit of stick, and he never set the world on fire for his first season at Arsenal. But look, this is a couple of penalties now he's put away, and yeah, it's a different kettle of fish in the Premier League, I know. But for a young man who needs a bit of confidence, what better way to do that than put the ball away at Wembley Stadium for Arsenal to pick up the shield? So that was a nice moment. And we go on onwards and upwards. Have a few days of training, and we'll see where we are with the press conferences. I guess that will be on Friday, and we start the Premier League all over again on Saturday at lunchtime. As mentioned, I don't think we'll be able to be live during the actual matchup itself. We'll try and get something in over the weekend, and we'll try and put some more stuff in as we go along. But I think that just about covers everything that I wanted to talk about. I hope everyone's enjoyed the stream. I hope everyone has had a fantastic start to the week. You all look after yourselves. You can find us on the social medias. Let's turn that off and go to that one. You can find me on Twitter or X at Gunnerly Meads. You can find my broadcast partner normally, Bosch Bertie, at Bosch Bertie. Everyone on the team at Gooner Gathering. And unless there's anything else coming up in the comments, which I don't believe there is, I think I'm going to love you all and leave you. Please, if you're watching the video on demand, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Let's keep us progressing. And we'll see you soon.